Yeah, man, these are good. These are awesome, and I love. There's a question I didn't even put on the little list that I sent you that that'll be good to get to here in just a second. But
Oh, you know what? I didn't look at the list.
it's all right. Good. Then there'll be true, honest answers.
Man, I like shooting from the hip, brother. If you
That's
haven't figured
awesome,
that
man.
out.
That's awesome. All right, let's see. So, hey, welcome everybody. If you are joining us, if you don't know me, my name is Rich Groves. I am the co-host of Gateway to Freedom, which is a real estate investing. Conference.
Symposium.
Exactly. It's a real estate investing conference. It's a hoedown. It's a shindig here in St. Louis. It's going to be groundbreaking. It is the first of its kind to be held in St. Louis. We have 17 incredibly successful speakers lined up to pour into the room of people that attend. They have over 200 years of experience combined, and it is going to be an unbelievable opportunity. And I want to introduce our speaker for today. It's another Get to Know the Speaker session. And this is Mike Kitko. I'll bring him on in just a second, but let me tell you a little bit about Mike. So Mike is the founder and CEO of Inner Wealth Global, which is a personal and professional development company, which helps business owners create more wealth, success, and happiness in their lives and businesses. Now, I've heard Mike speak a few times on stages, and this guy is incredible. He has so much passion and love for the people that he's trying to help. I'm going to bring Mike on here because through coaching, training, and other, content, Inner Wealth helps business owners keep their eyes and what they're really on what they're really. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Let me stop butchering this and just bring Mike on because this guy is amazing and he can tell his story better than I can for sure. So without any further ado, here is Mike Kitko, my guest today. Hey, Mike, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm good, Rich. Man, no matter how you introduced me, brother, it was perfect, and we're just gonna jam anyway.
I appreciate that. So Mike, number one, I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you wanting to be a part of this conference that we've got coming on here. And tell everybody a little bit about you. Who is Mike Kitko?
Yeah, so I just got a call as soon as you passed it over to me. Listen, on the intro, I wake up every day to move the needle in the lives of people that I serve, that I work with, and what I want more than anything is for everybody to experience the time freedom, the financial freedom, the freedom, like the internal, you can call it spiritual freedom that so few people on the face of this planet really enjoy. So many times where people are running from negative consequences and what they don't want in their life. They're not really creating the life of their dreams. They're just trying to survive. And what I am, who I am, is 7 years ago I was a recovering Fortune 500 executive. I led $65 million businesses, $350 million businesses in Fortune 500 America. That was never where I was intended to be. And I did that because I thought I had to, not because I wanted to. And I was 300 pounds. I was suicidal. I was drinking at toxic levels. My marriage was in a complete, abomination. And really what it was is I was just living day to day to just survive. I didn't know who I was and how I was talented and the genius that I possessed inside. And we all possess genius. It's not just me. I didn't know who I was. And I all I was trying to do was just escape reality and just keep the wheels on an already shitty life. And when everything fell apart, I got the opportunity to build it back. And look, Sean McCloskey was a part of my story, the other keynote speaker, because I went to a workshop with Sean and he helped me understand what I really wanted in this world. And most people don't know what they want. And the number one reason why people don't have what they want is because they don't know what they want. But when you get really clear about who you are and what you want, you start creating that in your life. You get to stop like running from negative consequences and circumstances. And I'd say, 90% of the world is running from what they don't want instead of creating what they do. And when you get really clear about what you want and you really let go of the doubt and the worry and fear that you can't have it, and you just go all in on your dream and your passion, you can't lose. And I love helping people experience what I get to experience on a daily basis, waking up to a life that you just get excited to live on a daily basis.
Man, that is freaking awesome. We got David out here. You know David, he's commenting out here. So he's
That's my
saying
man.
that, yeah, he's been working with you for about 2.5 years. And his teachings completely changed my life beyond what he could comprehend. That's awesome, David. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. It's things like that. I mean, Mike, that's gotta be so comforting to know that you've helped people. Like you really, I mean, you could try, right? You get out there and like, look, I'm going to try to help people, but if it doesn't help anybody, it can be kind of frustrating, maybe. I don't know, but when you know that people are being helped and you are actually helping these people do what you're setting out to do, that's got to be so fulfilling.
Well, look. Let me go back to corporate. Let me go back to my corporate days, and I managed huge organizations, and I did a lot of things. I managed P&Ls, and I hired and fired, and I ran operations, and I ran supply chain, and I mean, I did a lot of things that I couldn't stand doing. But there's only two that I ever loved, and that's developing people and developing teams. And there was nothing more magical than me having an employee in my office talking about what are your dreams, what are your aspirations, what are you're talented, here's what you're talented at, and helping them understand about their uniqueness and their genius and what they were bringing to the table. And oftentimes they didn't see it, they didn't understand it, and they just did their job. They were a drill press operator, they were a whatever, a machinist, and they didn't an engineer. They didn't understand what uniqueness was trapped inside of them, that it was almost like it was transparent to them. And when I was developing people and developing teams, I would go into my team meetings, and I would present, and I would motivate them, and I would tell them about the organization and where we were going and what we did well and what we didn't do well and where our opportunities were. And they'd always like run through walls for me. It was amazing, but I didn't know that was unique. I didn't know that was a talent. It was so easy and natural for me that I didn't understand the goodness that was right there. So I'm going to advance it to now. When I didn't understand how talented, how that was a zone of genius for me, and then I started doing it. When somebody would say, "Hey, you really helped me," back then, I'd say, "Yeah, it couldn't have been that good, because if I can do it, anybody can do it." And that's what we miss, Rich. We miss that we are uniquely talented. And when you understand that uniqueness and start expressing that uniqueness in the world, people like David show up to start saying, "Hey, you changed my life and you helped me see something I didn't see before." But first you have to accept that there's something genius about you and that there's a talent in you, because if you don't see it in yourself, you can't help other people see it in themselves, and you can't help them truly accept it and embrace it.
That is so powerful. I 100% agree with you. That is so powerful. It really is. So let me ask you a two-sided question. So there's two sides of the coin. Let me ask you one. What would you say has been your proudest professional moment? I would even like to ask you, like, since you started doing what you do now, what would you say has been your proudest professional moment?
We just got back from a retreat. I mean, I'm going to use the recency bias here. Yeah. We just took our mastermind to Sedona, Arizona, and it was a Monday through Friday retreat, and I have a small inner circle, and I have a mastermind, and David's part of my group, and in that room, I think it was when I've got this small inner circle, and they are really the leaders in that mastermind. And I'm the teacher and I'm the facilitator, but in the community, I've brought the community together. But my inner circle really are people that have done the work, and they've done the internal work, that the mindset work, the heart set work that really helps move the needle. And when I challenged them, I called them to task. Hey, you're the leaders. I need you guys to step up and lead this group. Like you are the leaders, and they are looking at you, and they are watching you, and they want to know like what you've done and how you've gotten to where you've gotten. Now, these inner circle folks, they have wealth, they have success, and a lot of them, they were millionaires, but they were like unhappy millionaires and miserable millionaires. And there was a tagline I used to use, and that's every once in a while, but I turn millionaires into happy millionaires. I mean, that's my genius, right?
I love it.
But the point is I called the inner circle to task, and they led for the entire week. And like, it was such a powerful moment. I saw spontaneous hugs, and there were spontaneous tears, and there were people that literally said that they had never told, they shared in a room full of 30 people what was happening in their life and what they were running from their whole life. And they said, I've never shared this with anybody. And people were like literally cracking open. But the beauty of it is they were feeling more normal than they've ever felt before. And for the first time ever, they felt like they had a group of people that they could just be real, they could be vulnerable, they could be raw, and be loved and accepted all at the same time. And it's like every time somebody cracked open and just invited people into their heart, everybody rallied around them. And the point being is, when I sat back and observed, not only led this, but when I observed what was happening and how much love people were experiencing and how much wealth and how much success and how much happiness they started, I don't know how you can be any more proud in your career or in your profession when you know that you are literally making a difference in people's lives. But the cool part is I just get to do what I love doing, and it doesn't take any it's not about stress and struggle and sacrifice. I don't do things that I hate. I only do what I love, and people's lives are changing, and they tell you this. And I've reached a point where I receive it and I accept it and I embrace it. I no longer push it away. And that's the magic part. It's just accepting that you are a gift in this world, and there's something unique that you bring to the world. And when you get into that zone and you express it and people see it and they share it with you, you just got to receive it and love it.
Absolutely. Oh, it is. And that is so powerful. And somebody else commented out here that's so transformational what you're talking about. So absolutely it is. It 100% is. So I've got to ask the flip side of that question, right?
Yeah.
So the flip side of the question is going to be, and on a professional level, what would you say has been your greatest lesson learned?
Holy crap. When I was in corporate, I got fired twice in about 20 months. Oh. And this was after a long runway in corporate. And I'm a Marine veteran. I served between 92 and 97. And I got out of the Marine Corps and I jumped right into corporate America, and I started getting promoted really, really quickly. And there's this, I guess, outspokenness and leadership capacity that I've always had. And whenever I've joined a new team, and a question was, even on my first day, when a question was asked, it seemed like everybody would look at me and for the answer. I'm like, this is my first day. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But the point is there's always been this leadership acumen that I've possessed. And, but the point being is I kept going hard and I kept going fast. And as I started getting promoted and as I started making more money, there was always this story my father told me. And he said, you got to work hard for your money, right? Money doesn't come easily, and you got to work hard for your money. And when money started coming really, really easy for me, Rich, I found ways to make it hard because we live through our stories. So when you believe that making money is hard and it comes easy, you're going to find a way to make it hard. And you got to do stuff that you hate in order to make money. These are all bullshit lies. These are all lies. The point being is, in 2014, I got fired from my first job. And this is after 16 years of success and getting my MBA funded and flown all over and trained and, assuming responsibility for large organizations and running manufacturing plants for Stanley Black & Decker successfully and turning it around. After a lot of success, in 20 months, I blew 2 jobs because I was so out of sorts, and I just kept saying yes to more and more money. And it's like the more commas, the more zeros, the more, it didn't matter what the roles, what the responsibility was. It was just give me the money and I'm going to say yes. And on March 18th, 2016, I got fired from my last corporate position. I was like, oh, okay, no longer. That window is closed. What am I going to do with the rest of my life? It was the greatest collapse, but it was also the greatest opportunity to hit reset on everything in my life.
Yeah. So you buy into the, you hear a lot of times, things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
Absolutely. No, I remember back in my corporate days when I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I didn't have the courage to do it myself. So it's almost like life, universe, God, whatever you want to call that thing that's guiding this ship, said, I want for you what you want for you. So you're not going to do it yourself. Well, I'm going to pull the carpet out from under your feet, right? Then you splat on the ground and you start to pick yourself back up, and you see that eventually you get where you should have been all the time, where you belonged. And I'm an entrepreneur. That's why I always rose to the head of the class, because I was in corporate, because I'm an entrepreneur. I've got that mindset of personal improvement and self-help and just always pushing the needle.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. That's that entrepreneur spirit doesn't die no matter where you're at. It always kind
No.
of rises to the top.
And it shows up in your family, and it shows up in your health, and it shows up in your career, and it shows up everywhere. It's like what not insatiability, like what's next. It's being peacefully, as David Goggins says, peacefully never satisfied. It's like, okay, I'm going to improve. My life is going to improve every day until I die. Let me see what I've got under the hood. Let's keep pushing this potential, and let's keep embracing, new possibilities.
Yep. Yep. No, that's awesome. With that, let me ask you this. So I know there's people out there sitting on the fence. I don't know if I'm going to go to this conference or not, or people might be like, well, I've been in real estate 20 something years. There's nothing you could teach me. I know everybody. I even had somebody tell me one time, I've got everybody on that's going to be there on speed dial, so I could just talk to them anytime. But somebody that's on the fence, whether they're a brand newbie or somebody that's just thinking of getting into real estate investing, or somebody that's a 20-year plus veteran that's on the fence of going, what would you say to them? What's the biggest benefit of going to a conference like this?
Yeah, I had a coach one time because I hire people to help me improve my circumstances, right? So that's what I do, and I go to workshops and I go to conferences, and I still continue to invest in myself, even though I've got a pretty successful career and make a lot of impact. And, it's always that constant improvement. And I had a coach one time it was before I actually hired her. And I went to a full day workshop with her, and she didn't know me. I didn't know her. I was sitting in the audience, and this was before I really got to know her. And she said, there's some of you here right now that think that you don't belong here because you already know everything about everything. And you're because I went with my wife. Because, it was really her thing, not mine. She's like, you guys are wondering why you shouldn't be here, and you already got all this stuff figured out. And you're sitting here and you're closed off, and you've got your arms crossed, and you've been to personal development things before, and there's this unhealthy pride about you. And there's this arrogance that, these people or this person has nothing new to share. And she said, let me tell you, I got 1 7-figure business and an 8-figure business. I've got books, I've got podcasts, I've got success. I've got people, like my forwards are done by famous people in my books. She said, but I still sign up for a weekend workshop once a month. I sit in the front row with a brand new notebook, and there's always a key insight that somebody shares that changes your life. You never hear everything there is to hear, and you'd be surprised how much you could learn if you just open your mind and open your heart to learning a new concept that you might have missed all the way leading up to this point. But you have to drop the arrogance and the ego and the unhealthy pride that says you've got anything figured out in this world, and become a student, a new student, a brand new student every single day. So what would I say to somebody on the fence? Even if there's just one little drop of information that comes out, it could add a 0 or a comma to your bank account. It could add some joy to your life. It could add, some muscle to your body. There's somebody that's going to share something that you haven't heard before. And the wealthy, the super wealthy people that I work with, they don't want my time. They just want that little nugget. And once they get it, they're out the door.
Yeah. No, that's genius right there. Absolutely. Because you don't know who you're going to meet, right? Whether somebody in the room speaking, like you said, maybe gives you a nugget you never heard before. You might meet somebody in the networking portion that's your future wife or your next business partner or whatever.
If you close off to learning new things, then that's a fixed mindset, and you're stuck.
Yep.
If you close yourself off that you've already got it all figured out and there's nothing new to learn, then have fun in your current circumstances for the rest of your life, because you've given up the opportunity to be a student. And it's only by being a student and learning new things that you're going to continue to elevate your life.
Absolutely. Part of this, Mike, is, we title this "Get to Know the Speaker." And one, I want to learn, want people to know your background. I want people to know your angle. I want people to know kind of a little bit about what you're talking about, and you're exuding all of that with your personality and what you talk about. And I love it. But I want to give somebody a peek into the real Mike Kitko behind the curtains there. So, Mike, other than your profession, other than what you do for a living, what is your biggest passion in life?
But besides what I do for a living,
Yeah.
I think it's all intertwined. I'll give you some things that I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I went for a 5-mile run. I love running. I throw in some AirPods. I listen to a great audio book because I'm a student, a new student every day. Throw in an audio book. Behind this wall, I've got my home gym. I'm in there lifting weights just to sharpen my body. But again, AirPod in with maybe a great audio book in. I'm an avid podcast listener. I love listening to podcasts. I love listening to new knowledge, new wisdom. I've got a library of books. I love to read. I love to consume more information because the more information and the more processing I can absorb, the more I can teach my students. My wife and I absolutely adore traveling, but this is why I say it all melds together, because 6 years ago, my wife and I put together a vision of our life. And what that was, we were going to travel a lot, but we run our business on the road. We don't travel to escape our life. Like the same meeting we have every day at our kitchen table with our laptops open, we have on a balcony in Florida, right? There's nothing to escape anymore. And this is why I say there's not really a separation, Rich. We love to travel. We took our family to Paris, France, and to Edinburgh, Scotland this year. Here's a cool nugget.
Yeah.
Over the last 12 months, we've been out of the country. We've been to the desert. We've been to the beach. We've been to the mountains. Yeah. So we are avid travelers. But again, this beautiful business that we've built not only changes and impacts so many people around the world, but we get to take the prosperity that we create from it, and we get to go on a road on our own adventures, and we love those adventures. We love seeing new places, new cities. We love taking our mastermind to places. We've been to with our mastermind Sedona, Arizona, San Antonio, Texas, Denver, Colorado. We go to see our different clients around the country in their city. So it's almost like our business and our life have merged, and there's not a whole lot of separation. My wife is our CEO, and I'm the teacher. I'm the teacher and the educator in the business, and there's not a whole lot of like separation between life and business. And like, we don't have to escape our business. That's the point. Our passion is our business and changing the face of the future of people's lives.
Right. That's awesome. That really is. So I know we're running out of time here. I appreciate all the time and this info and this peek into who Mike Kitko is. So you kind of touched on it earlier, but I just want to get a more direct question to it. The conference is called Gateway to Freedom.
Yeah.
How would you define freedom?
Freedom is the ability to say yes when you want to say yes, and say no when you want to say no, with complete acceptance and utter joy that you are an exceptional human being and you're here to live life on your terms without obligation to anybody else.
Wow.
And what I mean by that is when you start to create an authentic life that's perfect for you, and you leave, look, I'll share a little bit. I gotta set this up. The reason that you would live a shitty life is because of the stories that are going on inside your mind. There are three primary reasons why people aren't living the life of their dreams. Number one is they don't know what that would even look like, because they stopped dreaming, and they're just in reaction mode. They're just in survival mode, and they could have a lot of money, but they're still in survival mode, doing things that they hate, and just going where they don't want to go, and doing what they don't want to do, and working with people they don't want to work for, just out of money, and they're always going to be in survival mode because they've never really hit pause and tried to figure out what they really want in life. That's number one. Number two is because they're telling themselves a whole lot of stories. Stories about money, stories about relationships, stories about health, stories about obligation, stories about what they need to do to be okay, who they need to be okay. And they're living according to other people's rules, not their own rules, and not their own internal compass, but what they think is expected of them from others. And number three is because they're living in so much fear. Either they don't start what they want to do, or they give up way too quickly out of impatience. And when you really hit the pause button and you get clear about who you are and what you want to do in this world, and you start to let go of these stories and these doubts and these, a lot of people that they struggle with money, not because money's hard to make, but because of their relationship with money and the stories that they have about money, right? When you start to let these stories go and you start to unwind and unravel the conditioning and the programming that's so freaking like deep seated in people, and you really start to take steps, inspirational steps towards the life of your dreams, you're going to find that freedom shows up for you, right? Like freedom starts to show up in your life. And I work with people with time freedom, financial freedom. And sometimes they even had that, but they never like gave themselves to feel free inside. So it's a 3-part freedom: time freedom, financial freedom, and the freedom from worry, doubt, and fear. And it's that third that gives you the real freedom that you're looking for.
Wow, Mike, that is powerful stuff, man. That is great. Oh, buddy, I appreciate you being on here with me today. I love your presence. I love man, if you come and you listen to Mike, you are going to be so pumped up. I think you're going to be that way anyway with the speakers we have lined up, but Mike is going to just pump you up because you're just so full of life and so full of positivity and just so full of so much information that people can apply to their life and get the same same place. One
of the mastermind students said that what I took away from the retreat was contagious positivity. Oh. And I love that. That lights me on fire. But here's what I'll share with you. Show up in the audience. It'll be well worth your investment. It'll be well worth your time. But if you don't leave different and you don't do something different, then you failed. Then we failed you. Yeah. You failed us, because that's why we're there. We're there for your life to change, not for us to say a bunch of words, for you to shake your head and for you to walk out and live the exact same life that you're living when you walked in. This is about moving the needle in your finances, in your career, in your health, in your relationships. It's about moving the needle in every dimension of your life. And if that doesn't happen, then we've left something way on the table, because I believe that like you should be doubling. We are capable of doubling our quality of life every 3 years. And that starts with taking, like, after this session, after this conference, doing something different that's going to add a zero, add a comma, add some fitness, add some health, add some love, add something to your life that wasn't present before.
Man, I can't wait. Can we just do it tomorrow? Do we have to wait till November 4th and 5th?
I'm in. I'm available tomorrow, Rich. Let's roll.
Oh man, that is awesome stuff, buddy. I appreciate you, Mike. I'm gonna let you go here. Thank you so much for joining us on this quick little live. Hopefully some people got to see this and got something out of it, and maybe they got fired up and want to know where they could buy their tickets. So if you want to buy your tickets, get out to g2free.com. That's g2free.com. And if you use the coupon code Mike, you get $50 off your tickets. So, and trust me, the value of these tickets, incredible. I mean, if you've ever been to any of these conferences, not just real estate, but any conference out there, I mean, they can cost you thousands of dollars. You can get into that room for $297 or $497 for the VIP package. It's well worth it. So go to g2free.com and get your tickets today. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks, everybody. Show up.
Yeah. Take care, buddy.